Yeah, I think there'll be a small presentation, but before that, I'd like to say something. Just the way that IIT Bombay is going. We've also started everything in IIT Roorkee itself. But one of the things that we've done consciously from the beginning, for example, we have a solar, we want to replace 30% of our power usage through solar and solar thermal. Okay, the right from the beginning, even in the proposal stage, we involved students. I mean, in fact, so therefore, that's where the entire, now after we've done it, they're going to be looking at getting data out of all of that so that we can improve in the future. We're looking at wastewater, all of those kind of things. The fundamental thing that we are trying to do is go involve students, and what we've done is how do we involve students? We have a national service scheme. Every IIT has to have an NSS. What we've done is we've put every student who under that NSS banner, so that this is a social initiative. First they do it at the IIT Roorkee level, then they do it around IIT Roorkee, next Uttarakhand, and so that's our way, and our hope is that some of these students who get involved in social initiatives also become socially aware people, so that they become and they know, because they're doing it on the ground level, so that they can go out into these kind of things. That's the overall thing. I just wanted to have Harshit make a presentation on something that they've done in another place, and which we hope to do in the thing which I'm talking about is culture-based planning. I mean, how culture is as very important in a plan. And whenever we talk about, we're talking about urban. I always think that you cannot think urban. In the last conference that we had, workshop, there was this concept of peri-urban. And what I actually say is that you cannot take an urban without taking the region into the entire thinking process. So I think that's what I'll leave Harshit to talk about.
Thank you, Professor Banerji. Today we already had Ranchi word in the discussion here, city coming into play. I would be talking on this as one of our ongoing research project here, which we have tried to bring together technology and social and economic aspect here. So it talks about culture-based planning for the capital city of Ranchi, Jharkhand. And what is culture? And we all keep away from culture for certain political and economic political reasons. And how culture is an important aspect of city. Then many other cities, we have, I think Delhi is a very good example, and even Bombay has been doing, and even Bhopal has incorporated very well the cultural aspects, but still we have not really worked on the cultural layer of the planning. So what generally are the objectives of cultural planning and issues associated, what one should be very careful while dealing with the cultural aspect of planning, and why cultural aspect is important for Ranchi or Jharkhand and the newly formed states as like Uttarakhand and even Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. And what was our approach and some of the findings, but I'll quickly just flip through them. Cultural is a very complex scenario, and definitely it has a political interest and differences. And cities have commodified it and have really made an image of their place. Culture in cities is gaining significance to urban and regional economies in the age of creative cities. Cities are becoming very creative, where Hollywood and all these things are coming, and even Jharkhand for that stuff has its own Jollywood. If you are aware, they have a regional film industry, and which is like the creativity is there everywhere. But then there is lack of resources. There is lack of acknowledging that potential which it has. Then culture has assumed importance in urban policy and city planning, singly or collectively as a key sector. And it has been connected in through economic development, regeneration and placemaking, and social planning. So these certain overlaying are there. it has become the business of cities. Anyone who comes to Ranchi wants to see what is it, the ethnic community like, and places like Delhi Haat actually display them. So are we only commodifying them, or are we really trickling down that benefit to the community is again the question. Brief? Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So this is what we are saying, that this city has a potential, it has value, it has people, and through the public spaces what we make, that should be really taken into. And we had done a study here. We conducted a couple of interviews. We did site surveys here. And we have identified like which are the places which have we had interviews with all the artist groups, how this economic benefit is not reaching to them, the community, and what are the stories which can really can be sold and can be benefited to the people there. So we had all we have documented all these things, and there is a huge scope for having the ethnic cow gully where the food can be sold, and the fashion ethnic stores which can be developed, provisions can be given, and local people can be benefited from them. So even it has its local architecture which can be created, like people can have their own, the city can have its own image. So such kind of elements were identified and given. And what festivals can be given highlights in this area? The ethnic food and the Jollywood, what I spoke about here. So certain heritage rickshaw tours which can be planned in this place, certain proposals, and how the festivals could be created and such promotions can be made have been highlighted. Findings were here. This is again a picture of heritage rickshaw tour. So we have different places we have identified with the student groups, like how these places are there and how they have been not really upgraded by the city, and how these can be really developed, and the actual benefit goes to the people. And talking about the current public spaces, nowhere if you see these places tell us about what Ranchi is, what Jharkhand is about. So when city planners work on it, they should be conscious that it really carries forward the community's image. So we did gap analysis. We have identified places which could be developed. These are certain examples how the clusters, ethnic neighborhoods can be developed. And they can be promoted. So these are the certain proposals. How the capacity can be built, how the local people can be trained to take forward these economic activities, that was proposed in this. That's all. Thank you.
I think the main point that comes out of this is how you can use the people, aspirations of the people and their culture to build unique identities of the region, and in that way also I feel that urban movements, especially in a place like Uttarakhand, where most of our should I say the hill people who live at the where China border and all of those, there are some strategic aspects of people. If people start moving from there are issues. So I think those are the things that I think come out, that if you get those aspirations incorporated in the planning itself, I think that's sustainable. That's a sustainable development, and I think that